world, my name is Nicholas Montes, and you're watching my YouTube channel, The Teenage Movie Critic. And welcome back to another YouTube channel video, but I'm so excited to have y'all back here again. And in today's video, we're going to be doing a video that's going to be focusing on the 2023 MCU projects. Basically, all of the projects of the MCU that are coming out in 2023. This isn't really an official list. I'm kind of counting the movies that have 2023 release dates. So, for example, What If Season 2 is included in here, and probably some other stuff. But these are the projects of the ones I'm excited for and the ones I'm not excited for towards the bottom of the list. But with that said, let's go ahead and get started with this list. Now, the original Captain Marvel, I think, was a good movie, and I am excited for this film. The problem here with this movie, why it's in last place, is because of all the projects that we're hearing about, it just seems the least likely thing that we're hearing about. Like, we hear about Agatha, Coven of Chaos, we hear about Loki Season 2, we hear about Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, we hear about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. But we're not hearing much stuff about Captain Marvel 2. Like, sure, all we know is that Captain Marvel, Miss Marvel, and Photon are teaming up, which I'm excited to see that, considering we've gotten Captain Marvel since her debut in the film. We're getting the interactions between her and Miss Marvel in this film after the Miss Marvel show. And then we're going to get the return of Monica Rambeau in this film after her little appearance in WandaVision. So there's a lot of stuff I'm excited for. And then it says that it's going to take place on this, like, musical planet that you have to sing in order to communicate. And I'm like, that sounds kind of cool, but, like, that's not a superhero story. And I'm like, what exactly are they doing with this movie that is going to be really good and mean something for that end credit scene for Miss Marvel? And I'm just really wondering what's happening here. So, I really don't know what to think about this movie, but that's pretty much my overall thoughts. It's like, I want to at least get a trailer to know what the movie's going to be like, so that I can be like, oh yeah, I'm definitely excited for this now. But unfortunately right now, I can't give you a really big synopsis for it, but that's my best I can get to it. Now, I'm not going to lie, all of the stuff that they're announcing for Loki Season 2 is honestly really surprising me, because, I mean, the fact that they're getting Everything Everywhere All at Once actor Hiku Kwan, who was like this very good martial artist who in this movie, who also was in Indiana Jones and Gremlins. He was just great. And so the fact that we're getting that kind of actor in the MCU is pretty cool. I don't really know if there's any other things that I can mention. I'm just really excited for this season. I think that's why I put it a little bit higher. At the same time, you know, I wasn't the biggest fan of Loki Season 1. I just feel like there was a big issue with that show. That whole season just felt so complicated, just like the Loki character itself. Like, I feel like when Loki died, he just didn't really have the most complete arc. His character was just so complicated that he comes from a bad guy to a hero, and it's like, can you at least pick something? Like, if he was a hero, if he was a bad guy at first and then became a hero and then he died, then that would have actually been a lot more satisfying than just doing this whole thing throughout all these other movies. But it just did not work. So that's kind of how I felt about it. But I'm very excited for Loki Season 2 and what they're going to bring to it. And hopefully they give us a trailer soon. Now, much like Loki Season 1, and much like Loki Season 2, I'm actually excited for the Agatha Coven of Chaos show. And I think what really is exciting about this show is really just the cast that we're getting for this show. Like, there's just something about this series that really excites me. Of course, I liked the Agatha character in WandaVision. I thought she was a great character. But having her as a character in the context of a show, that kind of, I don't know, it kind of boggled it down a little bit for me. But from all the casting we're hearing about this movie and all the characters that are probably going to appear, It just sounds really cool to me, and I just want to see it now. Now, in the Hawkeye show, I actually did like the Echo character. I was interested in her backstory, and I honestly kind of want to learn more. The thing that really a little bit kind of brings it down a little bit is, of course, you know, like I'm thinking that this show is gonna have that tone that we had in Hawkeye, where basically, because you know, for me, we're basically gonna have like 3 different characters that want the same goals. Because like, if you really think about it, here's how I imagine the Echo show to be. So in the end of Hawkeye, you had really 2 characters that are out for revenge for Kingpin, who kind of lied about a lot of stuff. Because Kingpin sent Ronin to kill Maya's father. So technically, Kingpin killed Maya's father. And then also, Kingpin was the one that sent Yelena to go kill Hawkeye. And so basically, imagine you actually have Echo, Daredevil, and Yelena all in this show together, going to try and stop Kingpin. And I think it would be a fun show. I'm excited to learn more about a character. I don't really know what more you can really learn about her, besides that she has a prosthetic leg, she's deaf. I'm hoping that it takes that street level side of what they did with Echo, and that she's on the run and she does all this stuff. I think it will be really cool. But the thing that really brings it down for me is that they said it's gonna be like supernatural stuff, which if you watched in like Moon Knight and Werewolf by Night, she basically has like a certain serpent or certain god of types, and she turns into like a warrior or something. I'm not really sure if that's how I want the Echo character to go, but we'll just see how it goes, if I'm being honest. And maybe she actually does become her own little superhero. Now, after watching Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, I was actually really invested into the Riri Williams character. I just thought that she had this very funny tone to it that really brought a lot of great humor to the movie. But at the same time, she was also a character where I was like, yeah, she's actually interesting. But at the same time, I thought like, I was thinking I was going to feel like this Iron Man vibe. And it's like I couldn't really feel the Iron Man vibe because I was just so exasperated by all the Wakandans and the Talokans and all that. And I didn't really feel the Iron Man vibe. I thought she doesn't feel like Iron Man to me, but the thing that interests me about the show is really how we're going to do this new Iron Man character, but also that it's a show about technology versus magic, which we haven't really seen a show that focuses on that type of topic. So I'm actually kind of interested in this show. Hopefully we get a trailer one day so that we can see how this show turns out. So overall, I'm excited for Ironheart. Now, the Secret Invasion series in the comics is known to be one of the best comic runs in all of Marvel history. And so when they announced this show that was happening, I was like, okay, this sounds like a cool series. I'm digging it. But I remember like, wait, aren't the Skrulls like the good guys in the MCU? Like, how's this gonna work? And you gotta look at it like, it's the MCU. Now everything runs by the comics, so if it's still gonna be Skrulls, they're probably gonna do there's probably an evil version of Skrulls and a good version of Skrulls. So the Skrulls that we're seeing right now are the good Skrulls, and the ones that are probably pretending to be other people are the bad ones. So that's what I'm thinking. But I mean, the fact that it has like this tone of Winter Soldier, and also the fact that it's gonna have all these different cameos of characters, that's gonna be interesting. But I'm excited to see that. Hey, and I was thinking, you know, we saw Martin Freeman in the trailer. What if the reason why the Wakandans didn't share the information with with Everett Ross wasn't because they wanted the U.S. military to get involved, but because they probably know he's a Skrull. I mean, I'm not saying he's a Skrull either, but what if that's the case? Overall, I'm excited for Secret Invasion and cannot wait to see when it comes out spring 2023. Now, the first two Ant-Man films I thought were really good. The first film really was a nice little film that had the right amount of action, the right amount of humor, and had a bunch of characters that I just really liked, and had a style that brought something new and fresh to the MCU while it not being the next, the biggest thing in it. Then you get Ant-Man and the Wasp, and it doesn't just do what the first Ant-Man did well, but it was a nice little break. It did what it was supposed to do in being a nice break from the big stuff that we see in the MCU. And that's what the Ant-Man films were. They were breaks after the big stuff. Ant-Man coming out after Age of Ultron, and Ant-Man and the Wasp coming out after Infinity War. And yeah, Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania is coming out after Black Panther Wakanda Forever, which technically was a big film. But the big thing about it is that it's starting the new phase of the MCU. Not only is it the first movie in Phase 5, but it's also the first project in Phase 5. Like, it's starting the whole thing. Like, it's coming out before Secret Invasion and What If Season 2. It's coming out before all those. But, I mean, besides that, getting the world of the Quantum Realm finally to explore more of that, seeing Jonathan Majors as Kang the Conqueror, seeing Bill Murray in this, seeing more of these characters. Hopefully they actually balance a way to do the humor, do the action, do the characters, and tell at least a really good story. I cannot wait for Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania next month. Alright, so for me, the first Guardians of the Galaxy I thought was such a great film. It just introduced these characters that were such a... Who the hell are these characters? Why is there a talking tree and a talking raccoon, and they just become these household names? Plus with a great soundtrack and a great world, and just makes it for a movie in the MCU that just works so well. And then you get the second film, which, if I'm being honest, I guess you could say every single time I rewatch that film, yeah, it has a lot of issues. Especially when it comes to, like, the plot and the nastiness of the characters. I think the best thing when it comes to those movies are the enjoyment out of it. And every single time I rewatch Guardians 2, I kind of like it a little bit more because I enjoy it a little bit more each time I watch it. So I guess you could say I'm actually positive on the Guardians movies, and I would give the first one like an A+, and the second one a B-, because while it is enjoyable, there are some issues with it. And then, of course, all the interactions that we've had with the Guardians and the Avengers and in the past recent Avengers movies, they've all been good. And then even the stuff that we've gotten with the Guardians Holiday Special, I thought have just been great. And it really proves you why you love these characters so much. And then you get the trailer for Guardians 3, and it just knocks it out of the roof, where you get the right amount of humor, you get the right amount of action and spectacle you want, but then you get to that thing that James Gunn is so good at doing, and really the heart and emotion, as you're probably going to see some of these characters die. If you remember reports that Dave Bautista, his last performance as Drax in the MCU is going to be in this movie, which means he's probably going to die. And that's kind of shocking that we've seen him, that we were first introduced to him in 2014, and it's now 2023. And we've been with these characters for almost 10 years. So it's like, it's almost crazy to me. And also besides that, the fact that we're getting our Guardians and in their comic book actor costumes. We're getting the introduction to Adam Warlock that we first got a tease about in Guardians 2. And then, of course, we're getting one of the Peacemaker actors to play the villain of the film. So overall, there's just so much stuff. I'm so excited for this movie, and I cannot wait to see it in May of 2023. first season of What If, I was actually a big fan of. I know a lot of you did not like it. I actually really appreciated that first season. I thought the way that they they told a bit of a different. They switched the script of the MCU around and told all these stories of characters we know and love, but they did a new spin on it where they were actually able to kind of mix in different genres and tones and actually kind of do something different with the timeline of the MCU that was really cool in the Marvel Zombies episode. So there was just a lot of stuff I really liked about this show. Plus, it gives in great characters to have some goofy moments. It just did a lot of great moments with the action, with the certain character moments. You get to spend more time with them. It gave such a right thing with all these characters in the world of the MCU that we know and love, without exactly it being something new and different. Well, not being something new and interesting to the MCU, but it gives us, we actually are rooting for the characters throughout these stories that we know and love. And of course, I think the way that it's animated, I thought that was actually like really cool. Granted, the animation in this show is not as good as, say, like Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse or anything like that, but the animation for what they did, I thought worked really nicely. And some of the shots in this show are probably beautiful, if I'm being honest. And some of it actually did feel like a comic book come to life. And, I think I will say my biggest problem when it comes to this, to the first season was, they didn't really make it feel connected to the rest of the MCU. As we're in the multiverse saga, one of my biggest issues is that we haven't really gotten anything in all the multiverse projects, Spider-Man No Way Home, Loki, What If, we haven't really gotten a project where they have that one thing that ties everything together. And it just feels like now obviously, we know Loki ties into the events of What If. What If wouldn't happen if we didn't get Loki? So, that makes sense. But what about Spider-Man No Way Home, Doctor Strange? What about those? Universes are just somehow open now? So that was confusing me. And then but overall, What If Season 2, there's a lot of great ideas that they have planned. We're going to get that episode where Captain Carter faces the Steve Rogers version of the Winter Soldier Hydra Stomper. We're also going to get like a Wenwu and Hela episode where it's like Asgard versus the Ten Rings. We're also getting a episode of like Red Guardian joining the Avengers instead of Captain America. So like, there's a lot of episodes that are interesting, or even the whole Marvel Universe against Surtur. All that stuff sounds cool. There are some episodes I wish, and the fact that we're not killing off characters, we're actually going to be, still keeping them alive and telling more stories that are based off of Phase 4 characters. That's interesting to me, so I can't wait for What If Season 2. So that's why it's my most anticipated project of Phase 5 of 2023. And that's my list for this. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. All my social media stuff is in the about section over there. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.